Big Duck, nigga, powered by Big Duck.
Welcome, everybody.
Powered by that Big Duck, that StreamYard.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 8 of Mount Silver. God, I was about to say Mount Lookout. Episode 8 of the Mount Silver podcast. My name is Meelz. I am here. Guess how I'm going to do this? See, I practiced this since last time. Since last time, it turned out terrible.
Okay.
My name is Meelz. I'm here with Pat and the Platinum Chanel boy himself, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hello.
I am today. I am Big Nigga Sword.
Of course.
Today.
All right. So wait a minute. All right. We'll get into all the sword, shield, and weaponry in this podcast, but we're going through a whole bunch of things. Actually, this is a pretty stacked podcast, to be honest with you. This is pretty, in terms of what we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 games today. So 8 games. We're going to try our best to compress a large part of the Gen 7. Yes, Gen 7. This is episode 8, Gen 7. We're going to try our best to compress all the Gen 7 talk into one nice little, this little package thing.
Unit.
Right. But if you are interested in our preview for Pokemon Sword and Shield, that will also be on this episode. It'll be much later in the episode. I think I'll give a timestamp too, just in case people are just like antsy and don't really want to wait. But
Right.
There's a lot to talk about on that aspect since, Leak City. We are here. We've seen a lot. We have thoughts.
Bro, I was in fucking The Irishman during like a major portion of these leaks. And for people who don't know, the movie is 3.5 hours long.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like,
I don't think Jeff knew that.
I came out to take a piss at one point, and I stupidly looked at my phone. And I'm like, oh my god, just an avalanche of information.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't just you. It was good. It wasn't just you either.
I was Discord with one of the leakers. That's why I kept sending you guys. That's why I kept sending you guys stuff immediately.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was the raw.
I've been having thoughts of starting our own like Poke community type of thing that I'm not sure whether or do or not, or whether, considering this game is coming out and raiding is a big part of it, and I'm sure people are going to want to figure out who to raid with, and everyone's not available.
Make new friends on
readily.
Switch.
So I've been thinking about that.
I think
most of my new friends as an adult have been on the internet.
Like I think we can do that, but I think we definitely should keep it to a point where, like, I don't want to say invite only, but like.
I do.
Only?
No, listen. Yeah, it should be invite only because the Discord I was in with the leaker literally had 200, 300 people in it, and they were like, they just kept adding the leaker like, hey, what are you playing? What are you doing? Where are you at? And like he was getting annoyed, so he was like, there was a point where he's like, guys, I'm going to sleep. That's why when I text you guys, I was like, hey, the leaker's going to sleep. Probably won't be much more for a little bit, but like I was getting the Pokedex like as he was getting it. So yeah, invite only. Plus we have a lot of people who ask us about this shit on the timeline. It'd be nice to invite them in, and we just discuss it in there.
A little networking, a little great community, all the other things. So maybe look out for that. Maybe look out for that in the next couple of weeks or so.
Definitely.
I got the chills.
Yeah. With that said,
that'd be dope.
With that said, we should begin this episode, and we should begin what we're talking about, and it is the 7th generation of games that includes Pokemon Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, Let's Go Pikachu, and Eevee. So that's about 6 games. That's the most stacked probably generation since maybe generation.
This is probably the biggest.
This is the biggest
release of Pokemon that they've done. It's just Let's Go with such a,
Let's Go with such a. I thought it was
it's
8.
Not. Nah, yeah, it's. Well, we're going to talk about Let's Go more and all that, but like it's just a very basic Pokemon game. So I don't know. I think it was just a skeleton for what we're about to get.
Yeah,
so.
it was to get people who were still fans but hadn't done it in a while back.
Yeah, or maybe who had a Switch or something. And
exactly.
What am I still doing with this 3DS?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, let's talk about a little bit of development of this game, and I'm going to run through a couple things here. So the game coincided with the 20th anniversary of the first release of the Pokemon game, so it's been 20 years since the game, and they took quite a quite a turn with this generation of games. Pokemon Sun and Moon were released worldwide on November 18th, 2016, whereas the follow-up games Ultra Sun and Moon was released on November 17th, 2017. And of course, we got November 15th is the date that we're all looking for Sword and Shield. So
I cannot believe this is coming out.
No, I can't believe we're here. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a great feeling. Nonetheless, this game, interesting atmosphere for this game, considering it came out a few months after the release of Pokemon Go and the kind of pandemonium that game caused. And it's
we can add Pokemon Go into that too. That's great. That was a big ass year.
Pokemon Go, I think, helped out this game more than probably anyone had previously realized, just because of how viral that game went and the lust for kind of like the nostalgia aspect. And then it kind of
sorry, I was like trying to decide whether or not I wanted to say what I was going to say, and I ended up sounding like a crazy person.
No, please.
Probably achieved what they thought. I wonder if they would have worked as hard on Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, knowing how popular regular Pokemon Go was going to be, because they seem to have more or less achieved what they wanted with Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah, I think just in general, well, first of all, the viralness of it all. I think the nostalgia of the first 151 Pokemon, and they kind of lean on it back in Sun and Moon. When you talk about the Lowland forms and things like that, but the people love the original 151. They just do.
They're great. They should.
Too much though. Too much.
That's true. That's true.
Too much. I'm gonna get into that later, but too much.
Too much, potentially too much. I mean, I feel like our discussion here is a prelude for what we're actually talking about later.
I'm gonna go the fuck in about this whole Pokedex shit because I'm getting tired of hearing about it. So like, yeah.
I actually have developed, just in the past 24 hours, I've developed some opinions on some things as well.
Okay, all right. We all have opinions. We're all stashed away. It's in the barrel,
we're on the
and we're ready
home
to
stretch
shoot
now. So we gotta say what we gotta say before this game comes out. Because if the game ends up being super fucking fire, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I also, I played the shit out of. I know they weren't that good, but I played Sun and Moon a lot recently, like the most recently. So I'm, just excited to remember things more than ever.
But with this game, that also a new director emerged from this game. It was the first time that a director other than Satoshi Tajiri and Junichi Masuda was at the head of this game. And you can actually really see it throughout this entire game. It was Shigeru Omori became the new director of this game, also the director of Pokemon Sword and Shield, who kind of decided, especially when they take on...
Lock him up. Throw him in jail.
It's something a little bit out of the box. I mean, I have various feelings about this game. There's parts of it that I really, really like, and there's parts of it that I really, really hate.
Yeah.
Some of it's so bad.
But
a lot of it in the beginning is very bad.
He said he rebuilt the game from scratch in order to present a unique perspective with a lot of emphasis on nature and Pokemon as living creatures.
Yeah, they made a mistake. They got rid of like the...
they did. They made a mistake. It's a very accurate statement.
It's a very, here, take my hand and walk across the street with me. It's easy. It's a very easy game.
It's easy.
Well, here's what I'll say. I think in general, what he's sort of talking about is that they wanted a closer, instead of it being like you're carrying around these 6 things all the time, they wanted a much closer link. And that includes like the addition of Z moves, that includes the Pokemon Ami type of thing, that includes
all that's useless to me. I didn't like it.
Yeah, that includes all of the, feeding them various different things or like playing in whatever situation.
And all of that is basically funneled into the game's biggest swing, which is the lack of gyms. And while I do really admire what a massive swing it ultimately was bad. Now that you've said this thing about like the communing with nature aspect of it, I guess it kind of achieves that, but at the cost of making the game,
especially with trials,
lame and boring.
So,
especially with trials.
I remember, I think this might have been the first generation where I kind of like, I knew Jeff more than I knew Jeff, and we both knew.
Yeah, we were texting about this game, playing this game.
We were texting about this game for a long ass time. This is when we both knew that we were Pokemon Maniacs. And I remember going through this, and we're going through all the development, and just like the leaks that came out, the same leaks that came out for, you know, Sword and Shield ended up following the same route as Sun and Moon. So we would all share, you know, any type of information that we got, anything that we've heard, et cetera, et cetera. But the one thing I remember not hearing throughout this entire development, I was like, wait, what about the gym leaders?
What about the gym leaders?
Where are the gym? I mean, we got all these towns, we got these 4 islands. They're gonna separate Pokemon by islands for whatever reason.
Oh god!
But it is hard to keep track of where you are in the game without gym leaders.
It's tough. True. But I feel like ultimately the gym thing is kind of what buried the game. I'll be honest, like I feel like that took a lot out of
the OG community of the game,
the competitiveness of the game. It was just like fight these totem Pokemon, you know, with these extra stat boosts who are a little bigger, and you know, it's like
they're big. Like what the?
And this is why I'm like defending this game and also hating this game. But I remember when I said no gym leaders, and I just remember and then I said no gym leaders. Oh, this is gonna suck because then they had island trials, right? So we had island trials, but I think all of this kind of follows under the sort of realm of the region, and I think they
definitely
played a lot closer to the sort of ecology of the game and the location base of the game, and saying like, okay, you know, it's a much, in terms of Hawaiian culture, I guess there's so much like, there's less like, I don't know, competitiveness and battle and war things, and a lot of like testing your strength, and et cetera, et cetera.
I admire that they wanted to do something different, and kind of like, hey, we're in a new region, and this is what's going on in this region. You know, we can't help it that they don't have gyms yet, or a Pokemon League yet, or you know what I'm saying? Like there was a reason behind it. It's just it also, I think it struck people the wrong way as well. So
the Alola region. What do we think about the Alola region? I think it's honestly one of the better looking regions. It's probably the best looking region that they've ever had.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, it's a beautiful region. I'm actually high on the Pokedex, to be honest. I like this Pokedex for the most part. I think the Pokemon were a little deep out, like, you know, a little bit weaker than normal, but it actually makes sense considering how the game is played. There are like a handful of really good competitive Pokemon in this, but I think the starters looked good, but they weren't good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they're pretty solid designs in my opinion, but they're not worth much. But I mean, you know, the region itself was beautiful.
I think, Meelz, in terms of what you were just saying a few minutes ago, it's one of the more like synergistic regions in all of the games. Some of the games, I would say it's maybe worst in Ruby Sapphire. The world is just like a ton of stuff, just like, what did we do last time? Okay, a little bit different. Here we go. And then it just ends up being like a million different things all at once.
Right.
And they, to their credit, like there are plenty of things about this game that I like.
It doesn't have a gym.
Right. And by those games, there were like so many towns without gyms and shit. Like, why was this happening? And Sun and Moon do a good job of like course correcting and making everything feel like one world. And Jeff, you're right that the Pokedex is pretty strong, but that's like, for all of that, the game is still weaker.
Well, let's talk about, let's separate this conversation in regarding the game. We're going to just do a general discussion about the game before we get into the actual Pokemon itself. What are the good things about this game that you would say in terms of Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon? You can pick whichever one at this point.
I mean, before anything, graphically, it's great.
Yeah,
I think
graphically, being able to actually customize characters a little bit more. I think they just started leaning more and more and more. It's like, hey, you can do more here. You're going to be able to do more in this game, and we finally just get more and more to like a customization. I think customizing your own player is so underrated. Everybody wants to feel like they're in the game, you know? So give us more options to customize your player.
And I think they take it a much further in Sword and Shield because In this game, you could definitely customize a lot, but there was still kind of a limit to it.
You could tell they were like, here's some things we have.
Here's just darker skin.
Yeah. Face is the
Or-
same though. It's still like a white kid, but
Yeah, the face. Is
You
the
guys,
same,
this is advanced stuff for Japan. Come on.
It is. You're right. You're absolutely
100%. In terms of the things that I liked about this game, the Lola region I actually liked a lot. I liked a lot that, you know what, we didn't have to. There's a bit of surfing, but not really. For considering a game that's like on
I
a
know
region where there's mostly
I was
water,
worried. That was something we were worried about. Like, damn,
we were like,
we're probably
"Fuck,
gonna be in
have
the
to
water a
surf
lot
forever."
Yeah.
All types of swimmers and surfers and all these other people, but you didn't really have to. There's a lot of boats, which thankfully, yes, boats take you through islands.
That city that is like a dock is one of the coolest. Like, I really like that city.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, I think that shit was designed so like it was such a dope looking area.
Another thing that I think they got right in this entire thing, you know, I think in terms of just kind of how everything is kind of woven together and sort of the culture of like they do a lot with teaching you kind of the culture, like the lay of the land, like from the second you come out, and it's like everyone in this island says Alola instead of hello.
Right.
It's
But
the game has the most like significant or the most distinct linguistics of any of the games because of the Hawaiian influenced setting.
yeah, I think, Justin says like, listen, not Justin says, but Justin, the fact that a lot of things come from like the culture, like, listen, these are in terms of just the Tapu Koko, Tapu Lili, sort of that these are the guys and they protect over the certain islands, and then you have sort of, the Pokemon themselves, and then you have the island challenges, and then it's kind of like, to me, just the entire way they decided to pay so close attention to the actual like culture of that and kind of really making you invest in it, as opposed to being like Johto. I think Johto is like just one of the games based on Japan, but you don't learn anything any more of Japan than you did in the previous game or anything.
The
like
world,
that.
they still make the world like, hey, this is Johto. We're not going to tell you about like
just accept
historical
what it is.
things. Yeah.
It's Johto. There's a couple towers they burn down, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of like to tell you the story of the legendary Pokemon. But as opposed to this game, it's just like everything kind of has its own story. From the seas, there's the Executor Island, there's the Aether House, which was built on its own particular island, like it's a man-made island. There's a whole bunch of things that are kind of like intertwined.
This is a slippery slope, though. I think this is partially what leads to the hand-holdingness of the game.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Sure. Well, in terms of just we can talk about the bad things about this game forever, but it's just that first, what was it, like an hour?
I wish.
Yeah. It felt more like 2 or 3.
Felt like 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So the first sort of bit of the game, I don't know if they were just like, listen, there's going to be an influx of users for Pokemon Go. Actually, probably not, because this game was probably developed way before Pokemon Go actually came out. But the amount of hand-holding in this game, to me, is probably what is the biggest turnoff of the game, especially considering people who have played this. This is the 7th generation of games. There's a large amount of people who have played the first 6. And the amount of hand-holding, and I think one of my biggest gripes about the game was kind of like how segmented it was, because it became less of like an open world. You can kind of do anything you want, and it's like, okay, once you complete this specific task, there's another specific task that's waiting for you. Once you do this challenge, you have to go, and now you have to save these people from this house, and then after you do that house, you're on to the next
I was playing the game just praying the next task didn't suck.
Yeah, pretty much. That's essentially it.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It was a segmented game, and I didn't like that aspect of it, and I thought it was a lot of hand-holding. I thought it didn't lend itself to being like, want to explore more, creative more, anything like that. There wasn't really anything else on the islands that you can kind of get into. And
that being said, like we know why it happened, though, right? I think that's the word. I don't want to say the worst part of the game, but it's like, okay, we'll deal with this, but like we know why it's happening this way. They kind of set it up for you to have to deal with it just based off, again, the region. But it's not. It turns me off to the game. I like to be able to get loose. Maybe that's why I like so much about the older games, jumping cities. Even if you can't necessarily do anything in that city that you need to do quite yet, you can still go to it. You can still travel. You can still give the crossroad lady the lemonades. You can go through and like just see what's in there and do whatever.
Yeah, like I would never call the original games or first few generations of games like those aren't open world games by any modern definition. But they feel like open world games compared to the new ones, which kind of
once you get cut, you can kind of move around unless you don't have surf or, but like other than that, you can go places you don't need to be yet,
There's so many things. I sent out. Let me actually go look on Twitter because I sent out a tweet earlier today.
I saw that
regarding what people liked or what people disliked about the game. It said, let me scroll down a little bit. Ugly New York, our friend Rob, once again echoes our thoughts. Hate how a good portion of Sun and Moon was holding your hand like you've never played Pokemon before. Avi, that was trash.
And it's like that, but like, 10-year-olds aren't saying that. I'm not even sure if 15-year-olds are saying that. I just think like we came from it.
Right.
Like we came from it. So it's
but even so,
are you saying like only 30-year-olds are complaining about this game?
No, I'm just saying like,
you know what? I wouldn't be surprised to be honest with you.
I know, I think
if you came from it like we did, if you were around during that time, complain. But what I'm saying is my 10-year-old brother who played this game he wasn't, what I'm saying? He wasn't that. He's not thinking like, why is there less gems? It's ultimately, I feel like the younger generation, the younger users don't care as much about as we do because we came from it. We had the original. We saw how the games have been made for the past, 20 years. And it was completely different for us. So yeah, we're going to look at it sideways because it's just not something we're used to.
I don't know. I feel like they're not giving young people enough credit, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, I'm only going by what I have. Like, I'm just talking about like my kid brother he didn't give a fuck about the fact that there was 8 gems or not 8 gems. Like he just wanted to play Pokemon. I just think that Generation 1, there was vision because it was so damn good. And we look back on it a lot because from nostalgia purposes, it was amazing.
We also got a comment from JD Mac 94, Jonathan McLean. He says, I think Ultra Sun and Moon was a better game, and I wish we would have got that off the bat. Sun and Moon was good, just as not good. Now, did you guys notice any sort of start? Did you have a different experience kind of playing Ultra Sun and Moon as opposed to Sun and Moon?
I haven't beat Ultra Moon. I'm still in the middle of it, but I basically it seemed the same as playing Moon again.
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean, I kind of disagree with that. I feel like the game was ultimately the same.
There's little things. There's wormholes.
Saying, like, damn, I got to go through this again. Like I remember us talking about it. Like, damn, we got to do this again.
Right. I mean, there's a few stark differences. There's the wormholes things. There's the Necrozma sort of Necrozma. Sorry, don't want to offend. But there's the Necrozma sort of aspect to the game that kind of takes hold of it. But I think ultimately, it was largely kind of a similar game. It's weird because I just discovered that, Ultra Sun and Moon apparently takes place in an alternate timeline than this game to kind of sell the aspect of it. I was like, really? Not like this is kind of like the game, we had Black and White 2, which took 3 years after, all those types of things.
Yeah, it wasn't really
getting a little big for their britches there with an alternate timeline.
It's an alternate timeline where it's just Trunks is in one game and he's doing this one thing.
Exactly.
And the other game and he's doing something else. It would have been fire if you're able to travel through time or something. But, whatever. Maybe that's the next Pokemon game. I'm sure it's going to happen eventually.
Okay, guys, check this out. Here is... I booted up Ultra Moon.
Okay.
I just beat the trial in the Mimikyu building.
Okay. Love that.
It appears as though the color on my lower screen no longer works. So I guess that's the better of the two screens that could have happened on.
That's very true. The 3DS is not the shelf life. So
and here we go. We've got Starmie, level 38.
Okay.
Pikachu, level 40. Growlithe, level 39. Haunter, 38. Marowak, 39. and Decidueye level 43.
UI.
Okay.
I like this.
That's is that even? I mean, yeah, he's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I
He's probably
apparently
my favorite
didn't like.
starter out of there.
I was clearly picky about the other new Pokemon I was going to use because I'm using all Gen 1 Pokemon.
I see.
This, I think it had been a really long time since I played this, and I was like, I don't even know who's strong. So
let's get into the Pokemon aspect of this game. There were 81 Pokemon introduced, 86 in Sun and Moon, and then if you include Let's Go Pikachu, 87, actually 88 now, I count Metal as well. Starters of this game, who did we pick? I could pick Litten. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I was Rowlet. I didn't
picked Litten the first time.
I didn't like Litten's third stage, and I definitely, I was not. I refused
to pick
to
Primarina.
go with Popplio. Yeah, Primarina was
Lame
just,
at every
just too
iteration.
feminine for me. Yeah, it was way too feminine for me.
It's just, I don't know. In terms of just the
Decidueye was my easy, like, okay, this is an easy pick for me. I'm gonna rock out.
You know what was cool about this game? Actually, I don't know if it happened in Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon. I want to say it was Ultra Sun and Moon. Ash Greninja. Whew.
Yes. Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. Ash
when
Greninja.
they introduced that, first of all, they made a great decision. Let's talk about a little bit of the background of this game. They made a terrible decision releasing a demo for this game.
I forgot about that.
That did it. That is what kind of hurt.
But those hackers stripped,
a lot out.
pulled, racked, reaped,
everything.
Just dragged every possible bit of information.
Data mining
out of
like
demo.
a motherfucker. Yeah.
And it's crazy because they had all the Pokemon in the demo, and I was like, but it's a demo.
Yeah, why did they?
I was like, why is everything here? Like they really just like tore it up from down.
Yeah, that's why they got sick and tired of 3DS. That's why they moved on from it.
But nonetheless, in terms of the starter I actually use, I use Lynn. Incineroar was cool. I guess it's not any particularly different than any other starter.
He's cool in Smash Brothers.
He's kind of annoying.
The Decidueye would definitely be my second pick, and I think I went with Lynn and Carlos went with Rowlet. Rowlet is cool, by the way. I mean,
yeah, Rowlet's really cool.
Oh yeah, extremely cute.
Yeah, he's just adorable. Popplio, yeah, I never saw it for Popplio.
Nah,
I don't like the fucking nose.
Yeah, it's like why does this thing look like a clown?
Yeah, like it's. I mean, I guess we already have Seal and Dugong,
right?
But whatever.
Who are flawless?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, just really great designs. Like
they could have made something like this, but I mean, whatever.
Jeff, I lend this question to you. Did any of the Pokemon in here affect the meta?
Yeah. There were a few that really did. We talk about the addition of Mimikyu.
Greatest ability of all time.
Yeah, his ability is extremely broken. I think it was important for them to have something that kind of like did some really cool shit. Toxapex basically is Poison King. At this point, at least, I don't know. This next gen, what they're gonna have coming up, but Toxapex is a tank who can basically do a lot. It's really good in the meta. Those are like the really strong, like those two Pokemon were like, I feel like I was like, damn man, they really wanted to make a statement with like putting them into the game to cause real confusion as far as competitive is concerned.
Right. In terms of everything else, I mean, do we have any favorites from this? Do you have a favorite? Like, there's very little favorites I have from this gen.
I like the sea cucumber. I forget his name. Paru, whatever.
Cucumber.
The sea cucumber with the fist.
Who?
Who the fuck?
Paru Komuki. The little sea cucumber.
Oh yes. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I like him. He's like cute.
It's a cute little Pokemon.
Lorantis.
Lorantis is amazing.
I mean, Mimikyu is one of the best Pokemon ever.
Yeah. Period. I feel like they missed, and I want to discuss this.
Sure.
I'm here. They missed with Rockruff and Lycanroc. I don't care what anybody says. Really cool designs, but I feel like they wanted it to be more, and it just didn't work out. That rock typing is just not it.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
they wanted it to be something similar to the Zoroarks and Lucarios of the game.
Yeah,
where it's kind of like this
they
cool,
did.
sort of attack heavy.
That typing though.
Yeah, the rock type has never been a good type.
It doesn't work.
It's a mock punch away from death.
Yeah, it doesn't
so
work.
every time. I think in this game I definitely used Toucanon, which was the
Didn't you
basic
have
bird
a-
of the game.
You
I
had a
liked
Vic- you had a
Toucanon.
Vikavolt, didn't you?
I did have a Vikavolt. So
Mhm.
Vikavolt, if you love, listen, I knew that the end, the end would weigh out the journey of it in terms of like it would all make sense worth it. You
Yeah.
had to go 90% of this game with Charjabug before you got to
Yeah.
the island where you can evolve it. And I thought that was the worst shit ever. But eventually, when I got to evolve it, I was like, "Oh yes, well,
It's really good.
Now
though.
I'm-
Yeah, he's really good.
now I'm unstoppable."
Yeah,
How
it's
they're
a
not,
beast.
they're not technically new forms, but I love Alolan, Cubone, and Marowak, and
Very cool.
also liked a lot. I've mentioned this before: Alolan, Vulpix, and Ninetales.
Yes. Oh man, that first of all, I even think a Alolan Sandslash is awesome. I
Yeah,
think the
awesome. I
design
wish
is
they'd
great.
given him a different type. Like
Me
they
too.
didn't.
Me
I don't
too.
know why they went with ice again.
It's completely trash as far as like using it, but it
Yeah.
looks great.
Yeah, it's awesome that like it exists because it's like basically fan surface. So
We have another in terms of just the Alolan thing. We got a comment from our friend Cyrus who says, one that he didn't like about the game is that they got rid of Mega Evolutions and started doing the weak regional designs.
They were
but he
there
said
though.
that-
You just
that
had to
is
get them
cool.
later. Megas
Yeah,
were there.
I mean,
you just had to do some
Megas
things.
were
wait,
definitely
why
in the
he
game.
should not be blaming those? He's that seems like a false equivalence to me. The Megas were replaced with Z moves.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah. And
Not the
Z-moves weren't awful, and
No.
UBs weren't a replacement for Mega. Let's get that clear.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think that. If you don't like the regional forms, that's fine. I just don't think the regional forms are clashing with the Megas in any way.
Nah,
I think the regional forms.
Cyrus.
I think they're a smart idea. I think they're a smart idea. I think in terms of just like,
I like regional Pokemon.
They should have been
terms
doing
of-
them a long time ago.
Doesn't it make sense
but
though?
I mean,
think
the
about it.
regions
Think
didn't
about it.
make the regions didn't
have-
make sense though in terms of just different type of way that they were established, right? Like
No,
until
100%, 100%. They
until,
didn't think
like,
about it
now.
long term. Yeah, they didn't
there's
think about
nothing
it
that's
long
affected
term.
by temperature or weather or location
It's
or
just-
anything.
They wanted to make the Pokemon world more connected, and it absolutely makes sense to me because we have certain cats, like Japan has certain cats.
Yeah,
They may be similar, but they're
Pandas?
different cats.
Grizzly
Pandas,
bears.
yeah, I mean it's real. So of course you're going to see
Imagine if
different.
Ursaring
variants.
was a panda. Oh my god.
I mean, we're going to discuss this, like, of course, later on. But this whole Meowth thing for Galarian, I mean, it looks completely different, but it's still Meowth.
this is
it's
like the type of thing that like actually like it. I know it would be really hard to do, but it makes me mad in this game the same way that it kind of makes me mad in Smash Brothers. Like Dr. Mario should not be a different character than Mario. You should just be able to change
changed
Mario's skin, and even within the same character, it tweaks the ability slightly and adds and takes away a few moves. They should not
Right.
be separate characters. And to some extent, some of that applies to Pokemon as well. Like some of the stuff they just made a totally different Pokemon for could so easily have been a regional version.
That's real. That's real.
Other things that I like about this game, I believe I also used what was it that Jeff mentioned earlier? The grass one.
The grass one. Oh, you talking about
Lurantis.
yeah,
I did use
Lurantis.
Lurantis.
Lurantis is awesome. Yeah, Lurantis is a really
I
cool
used
Pokemon.
Lurantis in the game. I thought
Great
Salazzle
design.
was pretty cool too.
Great design.
Salazzle was nice. I thought Beware was a nice design. Very cool.
Beware.
What about
Classic
the,
name.
I use competitively the bee, Rumby.
Loved Ribombi. Is that how you say
Yes,
it? Yeah.
yes. With Cutie Fly,
Yes.
Fly,
Adorable and powerful.
and really good, really good.
100%. So Alolan forms we don't really have a particular problem with. I don't see anything.
You know
different
whose
about
problem? I have a problem with Meowth. He was off the perch. Why did he look so out of his mind? And then
You
Persian
know what?
looked even higher.
Now Persian, I have an issue with. Meowth, I'm like whatever, but That Persian
Sassy.
is one of the ugliest. It's big head, skinny body. Like I'm like, what is?
Did you
this?
appreciate Doug Trio, the Alolan Doug Digger?
I love Doug Trio. I love Alolan Doug Trio.
I love Alolan Doug Trio. I send him out. I blast Iron Maiden. It is so awesome. They gave him fucking 80s metal hair.
Hair, dude.
It's an incredibly bizarre decision. I love it.
It is,
Why the fuck did they do that?
I don't know, but it was so cool. Like, because to me, it's so risky. It's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, we're just gonna give this Doug Trio some hair and this Diglett some hair, and you guys are just gonna deal with it. We don't know why, but it has hair.
We fave. I love the Geodude line. I love the Grimer line. I like the Executor.
Golem is awesome. Golem is awesome.
And just
I love the Alolan Executor, but it's so weak because it's Grass Dragon. It's like,
yeah.
oh
It's
my,
an-
like
it's a unique
it's an
typing,
awesome
but it's
look
weird.
too, though. It's an awesome look, but like, I mean, anything ice is murking it off. So
It's
And
a
the
dark
Marrow-
horse for the best Alolan thing.
Yeah.
Are you? Was it weird
Oh.
that like they just decided not to give like certain first stages of Alolan, like Cubone and Execute?
I can
Yes and
I think it.
Or are
yeah,
you cool with that?
yes, and
I'm cool with
I say yes and no. Like it makes sense that like something could either go one way under some circumstances or a different way under other circumstances.
Right.
I think in terms of actual gene science, that is probably on some shaky ground. But it's whatever. I like that they were able to explore it in some ways without totally. You don't need an Alolan first form for everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right,
real. Shout out real quick. Shout out Alolan Raichu.
Hell
Alolan
yeah!
I'll say
Raichu.
that because
Yeah,
that
good
shit
one.
is beautiful. I'm sorry.
We
It
thought it
is
was gonna be
beautiful.
fairy,
And
then
you know
it's
what?
psychic.
He kind of surfs on his tail, and this was
does.
also the game that getting a surfing Pikachu was the easiest yet.
Yeah.
And as we all know, surfing Pikachu is the one true greatest Pokemon.
Incredible.
Legendaries. Were you married to any of them? I just learned Type Null in Sil Valley are classified as legendaries.
Yeah, they are.
I was like, what? Okay, all right. Cool. They just give it to you. That's why I'm just like, huh?
I don't know, man.
I loved Marshadow. I thought he
Marshadow.
was cute.
Marshadow is a thing.
Um,
Yes.
And shout out Hoopa.
Hoopa. Wait, no, Hoopa was the last
Hoopa's
one.
not in this gen. Yeah, Hoopa's
No.
not in this gen.
I
Hoopa-
was about to say the same thing. I'm like
I
looking
love
back, like
Hoopa,
who
but
is in this
Hoopa's not in this
generation?
generation,
Who's
yeah.
here?
So there is
Are you cool with the legends? Because I kind of think
no.
they're. Yeah, I'm not really
No.
obsessed with like.
Wait, who are the legends? Who the top?
Solagalo.
Yes.
Oh, these two. Okay, yeah, no,
No.
the bat, and the lion.
they both could have been infinitely better designed.
Yes, and a bat and a lion aren't major.
They look like robots. Almost.
Yeah.
Like,
They- they
have
look-
a
they look like
robotic type
Digimon.
look.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Digimon.
And shout out to
I like the
Digimon,
totem. The
not
totem
an
Pokemon are
insult,
cool,
not an insult, but
I'm okay with totem. I'm okay with the totem. I don't mind those, but other than that,
Tapu Lulu, Tapu Bulu.
nah,
Tapu
they're cool.
Fini.
I get it. I get because I think I don't mind it because I get it.
Yeah.
They make sense to me.
Right. Let's see. Zygarde. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Love
Why?
Zygarde.
Why?
Because I like the dog mostly.
No.
But
Why collecting all these Zygarde cells?
Oh yeah, no, that
Can't
was
say I
that
did
was
that.
something else. I'm not.
And it's
sure.
like there's a Zygarde cell, and it's like I guess I'll pick it up.
Yeah, I like the point of Zygarde, and I like it visually, and I love the dog form. I wish the dog form was more like the thing.
Mhm.
The big one looks. I think we discussed this before. How it looks like a Megazord.
yeah.
But the design is cool. I don't know as far as collecting them. Zygarde would do really good in Pokemon Let's Go, so I'm confused why they haven't go ahead and just push that out. But even though we're not there generation wise, I feel like they should just drop those.
Right. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
That's
speed
random.
through kind of the rest of whatever we got for this game. We're gonna talk a little bit about Let's Go Pikachu and go in our Sword and Shield preview.
All right.
That's fine.
The story of this game, the island challenges. Is anyone a fan of the island challenges?
No comment.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I appreciate what a big swing it was. I think
I appreciate them throwing something different at the wall and trying to
Yeah.
switch.
Just
But
wasn't a home run.
It wasn't hit.
Yeah, it was it wasn't a home run. I don't know that it was even.
It
a
wasn't
double.
even. I'm about to say it may have been just a first base hit for real because it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough.
Team Skull. The first,
Oh God,
they're like villains, but kind of like
Team Skull's a bit racist.
They've
but
watched
we'll
Yeah,
talk
I
about
was
it later.
I was just gonna say they're definitely racist.
Yeah, 100% racist. I'm sorry. Their city is dope, though. By the way, like that shit is
Yeah,
hard.
it
I
is.
love that. I love that part.
But yeah, like they were when they started. They're like Chappelle Show characters. Like, you know that episode where like he has to
They
scare
definitely-
the white guy straight? He's that they're that guy.
Pat.
That's who that is. That guy's Team Skull.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Team Skull. There we
Yeah.
are.
Too hood, a little too hood. And then I'm
The hand gestures, come on.
Oh gosh, dude, it was
This is
just
true.
so.
I mean, it wasn't created by us. Maybe blame Shigeru. I thought, as a director, he's doing okay. He's doing fine. He could be doing worse.
I agree.
He could be doing
Oh
worse.
yeah, 100%.
He could
The
be
game
doing
still
100%
sold for
worse.
sure.
I will say, without like directly accusing anyone of like, you know, true like intended racial malice, I do think that there is some truth to it, and like, you know, like American gangster culture, whether or not it's like classic gangster culture or like modern rap gangster culture, I do think is like uniquely not practiced in other places, but it's definitely weird. Yes. But they already did that with Giovanni like 20 years ago. So now they're like, oh, here's the modern version.
Here's the
It's
thing.
like,
Here's the thing about Team Skull, and I'll probably just wrap this up from here. Team Skull, not supposed to be a threatening villain base. They're
dumb
relief, but they mean wrong, I guess. But you're never supposed to take them seriously. They're never actually supposed to be a threat to scare you in the game, which is something that I've hated about a lot of the game because it's gotten a little bit too friendly in terms of things. I mean, you don't have rivals, you have friends, you have all these other things. But I don't think Team Skull.
Speaking of worst character ever in all of the Pokemon games, he's the very worst.
I mean, I laugh a little bit, but
I laugh because I'm so annoyed by him.
Did anybody notice the liquor on the table in the hideout in the main hideout chair?
No, I didn't.
No, but shout out to that.
He's got alcohol sitting on this table.
Aether Fountain. How long did it take? I remember the first time I saw them, I told Jeff, I'm sure they're evil. I'm sure they're evil in some way, or some way of the rather. And then guess what? Evil.
I mean, Aether Foundation, if that was a name in real life, you would know they were like doing illegal cloning.
Of course. Easily. So their entire basis is to discover wormholes and stuff like that. They eventually, Lusamine, who is the president of the Aether Foundation, who is the mother of Lily and Gladion, decides to want to go after Ultra Beast. After seeing one, Nihilego. We didn't talk about Ultra Beast. Did you guys like Ultra Beast? Well, you know what?
Let's just talk about it now. Yeah.
So Ultra
I'm cool with Ultra Beast. I didn't mind him. I think people freaked out, but we had to figure out if they were Pokemon or not. I think that was a bit confusing, but they're cool. I don't dislike them.
I that.
Consider them Pokemon.
What I don't like is that it's not really like a clean story. Like, they are Pokemon, they're kind of not Pokemon, they're like really strong, but whatever. But I don't know that ultimately like a trans-dimensional story was quite compatible with Pokemon. But again, it's in terms of a big swing, this one worked out a little better than not having gyms.
This is true.
That's real. Their world is nice. I like wormholes. I like the fact of catching every legend. Basically, they made shinies easier in wormholes.
None of the Ultra Beasts are well designed.
Right.
They all
they
just
have
look like
some
shitty tentacruels.
They have some weird designs. I'm not mad.
Me and Jeff's conspiracy that we were sure that the Ultra Beasts were actually people because of how Nihilego looks so much like Lily, and their tree looks so much like
that's another thing.
Skull.
Is it not like, if that was intentional, I would have liked it to be like a little more of an uncanny connection or something. Like,
definitely,
is there really something else going on? Is nothing else going on? Did you guys just get lazy and reuse a design?
I feel like it's weird that they designed that. It looks like they just designed it for that one cutscene where it fused with what's her face,
Lusamine. Yeah,
like that's all it was there for. Almost, I'm like, okay, so you guys made it look like this for the game.
And it's scary. That was scary a little bit. It was abducted.
It was a bit of
abducted this woman.
Yeah,
and just taken away
from her.
Scary. and now she's like evil and like swimming inside of its head and all this
Yeah.
other shit like that.
Very, very, very strange. The scene
It
when
was
you
one of
first
the
see it is
cooler-
kinda cool.
It was one of the cooler world events that has happened
I
in
agree.
the games.
I
Like
agree.
as the storms or whatever are happening, and you have to find all the beasts.
You had to get your legendary that evolved to its final form and then travel through
Mhm.
space and time to save them.
Right.
It was nice. The story wasn't that bad. It's just hand holding.
Yeah, hand-holding.
New features of the game. We have Rotom Dex. You know what? Rotom Dex, Poke Rides. Poke Rides replaced HMs, which was nice. Hyper training. Did anyone take apart?
Yeah.
I did
had
not
to
do hyper
I
training.
had to. I had to, but
I know
yeah,
Jeff does.
I'm not. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but as long as it's been improved in the latest games, I'm cool.
Poke Pelago. I don't know what that is.
I didn't use it.
Neither do I.
didn't use it.
Okay, all right. We got and Z moves. We talked about Z moves a little bit.
I used them.
I
A
use
little
them,
bit
but
overpowered. They kind of make the
They
game
are,
even
and then-
easier than what it is.
but here's the thing: if you don't kill the person with the Z move, then you feel like an idiot.
Yes.
no,
yes.
you got to do it. You got to do it. But like it simplifies the game even more, though.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Even more. You know,
It
and
takes
you
out a
get
bunch of the
one for
strategy.
yeah. It does. It
I
really
actually
does. So-
almost prefer it to the mega evolutions. I loved some of the megas,
A
but
hot
I
take.
almost prefer Z moves because
Okay.
it fits like kind of more organically in the game. They're both really overpowered, but everybody having the Z crystals and shit. I don't know. The same thing I feel about mega evolutions, honestly, is they both kind of muddy the waters and make the game a
Mhm.
little more complicated and easy without really adding anything. I don't know. I could do without both things.
100%. I mean, yes, I can. I think none of them have been essential to any part of the games and have proven to just be more so of a gimmick and attraction based on a certain amount of
that's
games.
real.
It's
Yeah.
kinda like for Sword and Shield, where your Pokemon got to follow you or something along those lines. It was what it was. Let's do a little bit, tiny bit about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee that Jeff can sort of
Sure, sure.
talk to us about. It came out November 16th, 2018. So once again,
Yeah.
they've stuck to the timeline. And it is, I say stick
100%.
to the timeline because it's going to become very important when we have our discussion about Sword and Shield of why things are the way they are. But
Definitely.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Jeff, how did
Definitely,
you
definitely.
enjoy or not enjoy the game?
Well, I purchased Eevee because I was Pikachu's so in depth. I mean, I it's easy to pick that one, so I just went with Eevee.
You love Eevee, so
I really enjoy
not
Eevee.
surprised.
The thing is with this game, it is ultimately Pokemon Yellow. I need everybody to know that first and foremost. It's basically Pokemon Yellow. There is no main battling wild Pokemon. You can't do it. It doesn't happen, not once. So basically, it's a catch combo type game. So you want to catch as many Pokemon as possible in a row to start your combo. So I would do something simple like catch 30 Pidgey. That starts your combo, and then you go look for Magmar.
Right.
If you catch it, you break your streak. So, or if you run away from it, you break your streak. So you have to continue to catch the Pokemon, so that if you don't, you won't find your shiny or you won't get the top stats.
Shiny hunting was really fun in this game, apparently.
It really was. It really was that. But again, it didn't mean anything. But there's not much for me to tell you about this game, guys. It's a beautiful game. It's fun, but it is Pokemon Yellow without fighting wild Pokemon. That's it.
They took practically Pokemon Yellow and said, "Let's put Pokemon Go into it," and
That's it, bro. That's it. I mean, ultimately, the Elite Four doesn't change. Nothing really changes. The game is it's Pokemon Yellow. Every Pokemon can walk behind you. You can actually fly on Charizard and Dragonite around and like actually fly around the city, which is cool.
Flying a Dragonite is so awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. Pokemon do spawn in the air, like Zapdos and Articuno and Moltres and Dragonites and Charizards and shit like that. But ultimately, man, it's just Pokemon Yellow beefed up a little bit as far as seeing Pokemon, and that's it. It's pretty. I think it's just a skeleton for Sword and Shield, ultimately. And it's a catch combo thing. If you like catching Pokemon and doing it over and over again for stat purposes, this is your game. I got bored of it after a while, and I had like 5 Pokemon to catch, so I just transferred them over from Pokemon Go
all right.
and called it a day, and I was done.
That sounds fun. That sounds like a blast if you enjoyed it during that time. I bought the game. I just bought the Switch. I bought the game. I returned it. I was like, who am I kidding myself? I'm not going to play this game. The new game comes out in like
new
2
one comes out in a few days. There's no,
Yeah,
there's no point.
I almost bought, and I still really do want to play it because I love the old one.
You should. You should.
Well, I actually mean the new Luigi's Mansion. And but now I finally am making like really good progress in Sekiro, and I may beat it before Pokemon comes out, which would just be a miracle. So I'm not buying anything, I guess, in the next 6 days either.
I think
Well,
if you're a Pokemon fan, at some point, just play Let's Go just for, it's cool. It's not anything, crazy. But if you just want to reminisce on Red and Blue and Yellow without playing it on a 3DS or DS, this is your way.
Pat doesn't know that he's contractually obligated to play Sword and Shield whether or not he beats it.
No, I will be. Don't worry. Caleb will be very glad that I'm playing something on the Switch that doesn't take over the television necessarily. Also, so
let's get into Sword and Shield. Our preview of Sword and Shield. Let me make the little time mark here because we got quite a bit. You know what? I don't know if we have quite a bit to talk about. But let's give a final.
We have a decent amount to talk about.
Final previewing statements. Where should we start first? Should we start with the leaks first, or the reaction to the leaks?
I guess just to start, we'll just summarize the leaks. I mean, the leaks are basically official because it's so close to the game. So
they're real. Yeah, they're real.
So the leaks for this entire game, week and a half ago, or some of the rather, a large amount of Pokemon leaked for this game. I think everybody was so anticipated on seeing the starters, which they have not officially shown us yet. And at this point, don't even bother.
They won't. They won't. I think, honestly, the leak probably, if there was another trailer, they probably said "fuck you" after the leaks. I'm just being honest. They're probably okay. Well, that's fine. You guys can just get the game on Friday because I'm not worried.
A big
about
old
this
game
shit.
Fuck from Game Freak.
Yeah, I feel him.
Nonetheless, we've got the entire. All right, so leaks. We're talking about the leaks. A lot of I think it's very close to the game, so we can talk about it. If you do not want to be spoiled by this game, just end the podcast here. Just
end the show. Yeah.
We love
Game
you.
will be on in a few days. Yeah.
Thank you for playing. Thank you for being. We'll see you guys in either next week or the week after. Nonetheless, the leaks for this game. Anything that surprised you, gets you is happy about all the other things.
In terms of
starters.
This is just
Let's talk about starters.
This is going to be a starter thing actually. The starter ranking did not shake out as expected.
It did.
I will say, despite an incredibly early lead by Score Bunny, it's a real case of tortoise and the hare. I say Cinderace is dead last in terms of the 3 evolutions, behind what's his name, Rillaboom and Inteleon. Inteleon seems like the easiest first choice.
Inteleon is the one for me.
I like his middle evolution as well. So yeah, and Grookey's looking way better than Score Bunny at this point too.
I agree. I don't know, man. I don't hate Cinderace.
I don't hate it, but it's the easy third.
Hate it. The action shots that I sent you guys, that helped. I think that sold me on Inteleon. Seeing Inteleon with the bubble beam out the finger and crawling. I think those are really dope shots. Cinderace looks like, from the action shot I saw, that soccer player leak is true because he kicks like a fireball. It's clearly going to be fast. I think one thing that, if people don't know, again, this is a spoiler, they are one type. So it is fire, water,
which
grass.
Makes it that much easier to choose Inteleon.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually,
absolutely.
I'm glad they're one type just because I was so afraid of another firefighting type.
Yeah, I wasn't as disappointed in the one typing as I thought I would. Like when I saw it, I was like, you know what? We haven't had this in a while. Let's. I'm like that. I like that. It's not bad.
I think we think about it in the idea, but when it comes in practice, it's not going to be as fun. I'm just gonna
maybe. I mean, it depends. I got to see how the region fares out.
I have a lot of Meganium Typhlosion for alligator triggering memories.
Okay, very very fair. I would say that's very fair.
That's fair. We got to see how the region plays out, though.
Yeah,
it may work out.
This is true as well. A lot of the guide leaked at the same time. The game leaked. Apparently, the guide leaked. Apparently, it's some sort of bundle. It was a bundle or something.
I didn't look at. So in this Discord, there was 2 spoiler sections. One was a main story, and one was a Pokedex. I actually did not go in story at all, so I have
Story,
no idea.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I didn't. I figured you didn't. I didn't go into it myself because I didn't want to know. I was mainly just focused on seeing the Pokemon and
come on, evil chairman,
and that type of thing. I actually think that this is, and I'm going out right now saying it. I think that this Dex is amazing. Visually, obviously, visually.
A lot of original looks.
A lot of original looks.
I think a lot of interesting. There's a lot of interesting typing. There's a lot of interesting Pokemon. There's a lot of interesting, a whole bunch of different things. I mean, everything looks. Listen, if you appreciate, I think if you're a fan like us, and appreciate sort of the design behind these characters, you'll appreciate this game. If you're comparing them a lot to previous games that you've owned,
we got to stop doing this, guys.
Okay, here's my biggest take of the episode. I think. Okay, how many new Pokemon are there total? What's the number on that?
I think it's somewhere in the 80s.
Okay, they should have. Here's what they should have done. In order to the thing that is maybe most aggravating to not to me necessarily, but to people at this point is watching Blastoise get cut and Charizard not get cut and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I understand why what I'm going to suggest would be radical just in terms of marketing. So maybe you make an exception for Pikachu and absolutely no one else. Yeah. They should have created a full new 150 and cut off everybody else. Like
I hear that.
They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have
new gen with just new Pokemon.
Yes.
Yeah. I hear you,
and I understand that wouldn't have worked because specifically we've just talked about how they used Go and Let's Go to get old fans back with nostalgia. They would have really pulled the fucking rug out by not having any of those Pokemon in this new game.
Well, but everyone feels like the rug has been pulled out from them nonetheless.
Exactly. So go for broke and just make a full new set. They should have just made a full new 150, said fuck it, you're not getting anybody from the old ones. It probably also would have made it easier to phase in the old ones with newer games.
A little Gen 5 action. I like it. Now, what I'll say is I've gone through a myriad. I made the decision. I don't know why I made this decision. Nonetheless, I made it nonetheless. To go on Reddit and see. All right, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Let me tell you.
It's all just shitty fan art, by the way.
There are threads upon threads of people who, oh man, I pre-ordered this game and now this is the first time I've ever had to cancel my pre-order.
Oh no, you don't get charged until it ships. What are you talking about?
Tough luck. Who cares? I don't care how you feel about. Listen. I'm done with all this fucking shit, bro. This Pokédex shit is pissing me off. I'm tired of it.
The main in terms of the Pokédex
what
thing,
game have we had every Pokemon in?
400 Pokemon are in this game. That is between the new and the old. Now there are close to 900 Pokemon in general. So that means that over half of the Pokemon have been cut, and for that reason, it has gotten a lot of backlash from people.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about half those Pokemon anyway.
Bro, listen.
Go on.
If you're in a region, okay, in the world, right? You're not gonna see everything in the world in one section. If they want to give us a DLC that you're gonna have to pay for, like you pay, I don't want to hear this whole, why are they making us pay for this? Everything has DLC that you got to pay for. Now because it's Pokemon, you don't want to pay for it. Do you want all the Pokédex or not? What do you want out of it? I'm saying if they expand the Pokédex later on, a year, 6 months, whatever the case, and it's $30 to get, 300 more Pokemon or whatever the case may be, which I assume they're gonna do because it's just good business.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, I don't feel good about the fact that people are upset about this Pokédex thing because a lot of those Pokemon are not gonna be used. They just want it for the option.
Yeah,
you would have never used Zubat and or Psyduck.
If you are upset that if you've been using a I'm getting intense feedback from somebody. It might be me. Hang on. Sorry. If you're upset about like not being able to use somebody you've always used, like I don't know, Pinsir or Scyther maybe or somebody, that's one thing. But like there aren't people out here using Crocodile and Deoxys and Amistar. Like no one cares. It's fine. We didn't need them. Like and there's too many.
You're not gonna catch all 900. Who's finishing this game? If all 900 plus Pokemon are in this game, who's finishing and who the people who are complaining, who really wants to catch all of them?
I would never done it.
I would try to do it. I would try to do it because of me. But I'm saying
this game I'll definitely catch them all because it's.
I'm gonna catch them all.
Now I will.
I'm gonna catch them all, but I'm just saying like the people who are complaining about this may stop playing after they're done with it. We don't even know how great the game is. We're talking about Pokedex here. We're talking about Pokedex here, guys. What game had every Pokemon in it?
No.
What game had every Pokemon?
You can't even notice if they had every Pokemon in them because there's too many.
I just don't get it. Like I feel like we're just looking for something to complain about because the games have been so successful. Even the shitty ones that people want to talk shit about, they break the records. And I know nobody wants to hear about the sales because it's gonna sell. We know that, but it's still happening. People are still going out to get it. If you
the
don't,
thing that I really don't like at this point is that nothing has changed from when we found this out, so it shouldn't be the story anymore.
It shouldn't be a deal breaker.
Like
it shouldn't be a deal breaker.
It's such a bottom line thing that there's not really anything to talk about.
I mean, that's how I feel about it, bro. And I get people are upset, and like they want the nostalgia stuff, and they're curious about Venusaur and Blastoise and shit of that nature.
I mean, they'll be all right. I mean, Venusaur,
they will be fine if you don't. If it's that big.
Also,
of an issue,
none of the other starters are in the game as well.
None of the other stars are in the game.
You're not crying about the 20 other starters.
Are you mad about Typhlosion or like what is this about? Really? Are you? I'm not dealing with this. Like, just don't buy the fucking game. If it upsets you that much, give it a few months. Wait for the DLC.
Watch on YouTube. I mean, watch it on YouTube.
That's cool. That is an option. Not buying the game is an option.
On YouTube for months.
Not buying the game is an option, guys. Straight up.
I think, this is definitely just so many people. I mean, it is what it is. I think generally the people who are mad, I don't know. I feel like they're still a minority because I can't really gauge how many people aren't going to get this game. I mean, you're going to get this. If you love playing the game as it is, you're going to get the game. If you're in love with the Pokemon, which is weird, not that it's weird, it's Pokemon, but the fact that you're so married to this specific Pokemon, like then play the old games.
Yeah, and I mean, the leaker said that the game is fairly massive.
It's huge. The wild area
it's a pretty big game. It's a pretty big game from what they were saying. So I mean, I think people will be okay. I think they just have to actually play the game. We're still so. And I think
you're going to realize that you were in love with a lot more new Pokemon than you did before. I think that was really in Gen 5 that kind of like sold me from there.
Well, that's the point. They're not trying to sell the old generation.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know he's a crazy billionaire now, but Jay-Z said it. Buy the old album.
Yeah, buy my old album.
And actually, that's a really good point, Pat. We talk about rappers being better on their freshman album all the time, or they sounded more hungry on the first album, whatever. Like, well, okay, go listen to that then. This is growth. It's a new generation. It's about the new gen, not the old gen. So you're lucky we even put, like Pat said, they're lucky they even gave us what they gave. They could have just did all new gen. They could have gave us 90 new Pokemon and said, hey, this is it, by the way.
It's really I don't know. It's to me, it's not. If you really enjoy the game, it's not something that you're gonna actually complain about.
It's not. Deal breaker. It should be at least. Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I love Gliscor. Gliscor is not in this game. I'm fine.
You're gonna be okay. Yeah, you're gonna be cool.
I'm just like whatever.
It's all good. It's all love.
I had my time with toxic heal Gliscor. Maybe
it'll come back. You just don't.
Maybe it'll come back.
We'll be fine, guys. You know Nintendo like making money. Stop playing, y'all. For real, man. Like, stop playing. Stop acting like we may not get a full Dex later. I mean, I think it's possible. So, if not, maybe Sword and Shield 2 will have the remaining amount. I can see that too, So,
Sword and Shield 2, see. Alternate universe Sword and Shield or whatever. I mean,
we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Regardless, it's on the Switch. It visually, if you've seen trailers, it's beautiful. The gameplay from demos, beautiful. The game is fairly massive.
Updates. Oh my god.
Is there?
just
Does
it'll be
anybody
fun.
know? I guess this is kind of a spoiler, but does anybody know what the playtime is supposed to be
That I'm not
for the
sure.
quote unquote campaign, if that's what they are calling it?
I think they wanted to make it longer, and that's why there's like a total of going to doing gyms twice, like
Yeah.
16 versions of the gym So you like a less easier path, and then after that you got to go to the harder. So I don't know how long it is.
Mhm.
I'm assuming it's probably gonna feel like any other Pokemon game. I mean, it may be a little longer because of the double gym type thing, and the game is big. But other than that, I mean, I usually on average I'm putting 70 to 120 hours in most of these games.
Yeah.
Just off hatching eggs and shit.
The quality of life updates will greatly decrease that.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, and this was a lot of things. This was a big thing for the game, and people complained that they're making the game easier because of these quality of life updates. Trust me, tedious and making things less hard. It's completely different.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
Like making
Absolutely is.
HMs forgettable and then eventually eliminating them, like that is
Like that's real shit.
yeah, that's just making things less tedious. Making TMs reusable, a little more questionable, but I would say still just not tedious.
XP share being on no matter what. Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. Like I don't really care.
See that maybe turning it with the option to turn it off, maybe, but like the just genuine hand holding at the beginning of every game where you have to follow a character for hours is so much worse than any of that other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
To be honest, they've just introduced a couple things like the mints, which can change stat patterns.
That video, Pat, did you watch that YouTube video where they kind of show the? I know I sent it to. I think I sent it to you guys, but
I think it was
basically
during when I was leaving the movie. I don't think I saw it.
They ultimately kind of displayed the technical stuff, hatching eggs and mating
and it's not as
IVs
tedious as it was before.
Yeah, it looks good actually. Honestly.
Which is much better for me. Like I don't have to hatch 40 eggs to get an egg move or anything like that.
Who wants to do that?
They also probably know now that like the making it so tedious and hard is kind of rendered useless by the internet because you can just go get whatever you want from some guy on Reddit for like nothing.
Right.
So, it doesn't like they should make it easier in the game because the only thing that they're actually making tedious is having to, trade something to some guy in Singapore.
Having to, run your bike back and forth or in a circle or wherever the hell it is in terms of just to hatch these eggs, all these different type of things.
I do think it's important that I know I say this a good bit, but like, they have to protect I know everybody doesn't play competitive. I understand that, but they do have to protect their competitive game. And a lot of people don't understand. And I'll say this again. I've said it before. Adding every Pokemon is bad for the meta. It is absolutely awful for competitive players. And I know that's a pocket of specific players, but they can't break their game for you. There's just certain Pokemon that can't exist because it wouldn't work out on a competitive stage. They end up banning. And then you'd be pissed that they banned them. Right. We can't win. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. We are currently, as this drops on Monday, we will be 4 days away from the release of this game.
Insane.
Everyone's excited.
I cannot wait, dude.
We can't wait. There's a midnight release. I'm old though, so I will not be at the midnight release.
Yeah, I will be getting this delivered by Amazon day of.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I always have a phobia about that because I don't want Amazon to deliver it at 5 p.m.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I'll be at work, so like if they deliver it at 5, that's fine. But if I get home at 6:15 and I have to wait until 8 p.m. for them to deliver it, I'm gonna have a problem.
Yeah, no, I'm
gonna stop by. I'm gonna stop by. Yeah, I'm about to say I don't work that day, but
I called out work.
Yeah.
I should have
my PTO is situated, but my thing is, I have a digital and I have the big bundle. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give one to my brother, so I'll have it at midnight. But I'll go pick up my physical as well because you get like 2 Pokemon from that bundle at Best Buy. I think it's Larvitar and
Jangamo.
So I'm gonna do that, but I'm extremely excited for this game. I mean, I really am. It's been a long time. I think the leaked Pokedex helped me a lot I got even more excited because there were a lot of things that I saw. I was like, well, I want to use that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there were some things where I'm like, oh, I can already build a team just off visually.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen a lot for me. You know,
New Galarian forms that are interesting.
yeah.
But like, it's a full. We're ready. We're ready for the game.
I'm ready. Good outlook so far. I think it looks good. I think we're gonna get what we deserve. I really do.
Pat's got his Switch fixed.
Yeah,
I do.
Switch is fixed.
I got my Switch. Jeff's got his Switch. Everyone is ready for this game. First of all, we want to thank you guys for this great journey over the last couple of months of reviewing old Pokemon games in preparation for this game.
This has really gotten me excited for the new ones.
If you have listened, and this is the first time I've ever actually had to take a step back and actually determine whether or not I actually like these games or not. I mean, I know the feeling, but then it's just like, I like certain things. I don't like certain things.
We played a lot of these as adults, so sometimes we look at them, we're like, that wasn't really that great.
Talk about them very academically.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. You can always binge this before the game drops, or even when the game drops. At this point, you can just listen to it as you're playing the game, because that's
We will be battling each other, and I will be recording most of these battles and trying to get them up on YouTube for you guys.
We will do all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
We are determining when we're going to come back to talk about this game. We might do an early thing next week, maybe.
We should ask them. I think we should definitely do like an early testing. I want to know what our listeners think as well. Would you guys like us to jump on every few gyms? Kind of fill out the waters, how we feel about the game so far. I know we're probably all gonna be playing at different speeds here and there, and all have different things going on. But at least we can say, hey, let's just talk everything up to the second gym or the third gym. So
we can try to figure that out.
Yeah,
because there's so much things I have going on.
No, yeah, whatever.
And
whatever
we have a lot of things that are going on. We have a podcast that's coming back soon. I don't know if you know this.
We do. Yeah. It's coming. And look out, coming back, baby.
And we have a whole bunch of things going on. So we intend on playing the game, new shows, all this other stuff like that. Oh, if you're listening to this, you probably want to know we have another nerd, I guess.
Another nerd
podcast joining the fray.
Nerdcast.
If you love manga, you're gonna love this podcast. It's the Big Eyes podcast, hosted by Jamal. So make sure you tune into that. That's coming out this Thursday.
You'll probably hear all three of us on there at some point. So
yeah, easily. But until then, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for binging. Thank you guys for all the support. This has just been something that we love to do. We will definitely be back when this game drops.
Did we just go over every Pokemon game?
Yes, that's it.
Oh my god! All right,
except pinball. You want to do a pinball?
We can do a pinball episode.
Pinball breakdown.
Pinball is hard to get.
Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Puzzle. Pokemon.
I love Pokemon Puzzle.
Pokemon Stadium.
Pokemon Stadium.
Detective Pikachu.
Ooh. You never know.
Yeah. I gotta get the Blu-ray.
You never know. However, we will be back when this game drops. We implore you all to support the game.
Yeah. Oh, let me plug. Late Fees is going to be out Friday. We're talking about some classics. I'm sure everyone has seen Judd Apatow's comedic influence over the last
That's awesome.
decade or so. Talking obviously about 40-year-olds and Knocked Up and Superbad, and then kind of how that spilled into all those people becoming creators in their own right. So
interesting. I love it.
A whole comedic generation that we're hopefully going to be able to get through in a decent amount of time.
I love it. Of course, you can listen to Jeff on RSPN every week with Mark.
Sir.
As they probably recap their Atlanta adventures.
Yes.
Did I see Mark running around a hotel hallway?
Mark was running around a hotel hallway trying to see if his new AirPods would fall out. They didn't, but Mark has OCD, so he still didn't like them, and we ended up returning them the next day. He went He went to go get his. He returned his pros. Listen, guys, real quick.
He has been setting up the moment when he returns to over-ear headphones for a month.
Pat, he went there. He went. He got his pros. J5 got his pros. Mark got them. They did a test to see if they would fall out of his ear, so he ran down the hallway barefoot. That's a really Mark thing to do.
It's super Mark.
They didn't fall out. He likes the sound, but he says it just doesn't fit his ear properly.
Doesn't it come with 3 fucking settings?
It does. It does. So Mark ended up returning them and getting the new Beats over the head. He's happy. We returned him yesterday, handled it. We went into Lenox Mall, busy ass Apple store, but he got it situated. Justin loves his pros, so
Yeah, I just saw the review.
yeah, he loves his, but it happened. He was running barefoot to see if his AirPods would fall out. So,
well, that is just a couple of things you'll find out on the RNC Radio Network. You can also listen to myself on the Age Show every Wednesday, I believe now. But Justin will probably talk about his ATL adventures on that as well. So yeah, make sure you tune in the entire week and keep supporting Mount Silver Podcast. Binge all the episodes. Go back, tell us what you love, tell us what you didn't love, and yeah, we'll see you guys. We'll be on our timelines showing off our pretty beautiful games on Friday.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Just make sure you're there as well. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Peace.